12 hours. The Strait of Hormuz. Aboard an Arleigh Burke Flight 3 destroyer on blockade patrol, the SPY-6 radar suddenly explodes into red alert. Dozens of high-speed contacts rush toward the hull from every direction, like a massive swarm. Angry wasps zeroing in for the kill. Iran just pulled the trigger on a fully coordinated swarm attack. Deep inside the Combat Information Center, operators watch the tactical clock drain without mercy. In 90 seconds, dozens of fast attack boats from the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps will be within range to fire their 107mm rockets. Each of these small boats costs less than a compact car. The targeted destroyer is worth billions. Tehran thinks they just launched the strike of the century. They expect to turn the planet's most critical oil artery into a floating graveyard. But they are about to learn that launching a swarm is the easy part. Surviving it against the United States Navy is a totally different story. Here is exactly what happened during the 2 most tense hours the Strait of Hormuz has ever seen. The entire geopolitical chessboard has flipped upside down. Diplomatic channels completely collapsed weeks ago. Washington's maximum pressure campaign, the most suffocating sanctions regime in modern history, has backed Tehran completely against the wall. Zero oil exports, no cash reserves, no allies willing to carry the weight of isolation. The regime knows the clock is ticking fast. In a desperate play for strategic survival, the IRGC launched Operation Guardian of Hormuz. Their mission is brutally clear: establish absolute control over the most critical maritime choke point on Earth, a passage moving almost 1/3 of all global seaborne oil. Iran is no longer making threats. They demand protection money from oil tankers, vowing to turn the Strait of Hormuz into a graveyard for any Western ship daring to ignore their toll. This is pure asymmetric warfare taken to the absolute extreme. Hundreds of cheap boats, low-cost drones, and smart mines hunting multi-million-dollar platforms. Facing that rising tide, Washington deployed an Arleigh Burke Flight 3 destroyer, a $2 billion feat of engineering packed with the SPY-6 radar. It can track hundreds of targets at once, over 370 kilometers away. But the true heart of this setup flies unseen at 12,000 meters. The Boeing P-8A Poseidon. It is the Navy's aerial command center, feeding a real-time map of the battlefield to the entire fleet via data link. Tehran truly believes that quantity will beat quality. The next 2 hours will prove exactly how wrong they are. 3:30 hours. High above the Strait of Hormuz, the digital fog starts to thicken. The Poseidon drops its passive role, instantly transforming into the invisible conductor of this tactical orchestra. The crew drops ANSSQ-53G sonobuoys, tech originally built for anti-submarine warfare, now recalibrated to pick up acoustic signatures, hunting the IRGC diesel engines through the turbulent waves. In under 4 minutes, the Poseidon weaves a digital map with surgical precision. Every boat, every mobile coastal launcher, and every hidden bunker on Keshem Island pops up as a blinking red dot on the destroyer's main screens. That data gets encrypted and beamed out over Link 16 at the speed of light. The entire fleet sees exactly the same thing, instantly, with lethal clarity. This is the system of systems in its absolute purest form, a distributed brain breathing through 12 different platforms at once. 0335. The very first physical strike comes from out of nowhere. An MH-60R Seahawk helicopter hovering near the combat zone edge already has a lock. It targets the swarm's command boat through its electro-optical system 8 kilometers away. Sitting way out of effective range of the Iranian 12.7mm guns, Two AGM-114 Hellfire missiles leave the rails, 150 grand each. They tear through the darkness on laser guidance, carving fire trails over the black water. The first missile smashes into the lead boat's cabin. The second completely wipes out its wingman. For a split second, the explosion lights up the faces of Iranian operators right next door. They just lost their field commander in under 2 seconds. The chain of command snaps completely. The speedboats riding the leader's wake lose tactical cohesion. They start weaving erratically, like a school of fish without their guide. Inside the Arleigh Burke's Combat Information Center, a petty officer barely glances up from his console. This is the quiet satisfaction of pure efficiency. No yelling, no cheering, just the sharp click of the next target entering the priority queue. But Tehran hasn't played its biggest card yet. What happens in the next 5 minutes is going to completely saturate the system. They flood the electromagnetic spectrum so hard that even the most advanced Aegis radar can't tell a real missile from a digital ghost. If you were the admiral in charge, would you choose A, hold position and let Aegis filter the chaos, or B, maneuver out of the kill box before the swarm reaches you? Drop your move below, 0340 hours. The IRGC launches its smartest asymmetric counterattack. Hundreds of Ababil decoy drones launch from camouflaged coastal caves in the cliffs. They don't carry warheads. They carry something worse. Massive radar reflectors designed to mimic the exact electromagnetic signature of a real anti-ship missile. On the Aegis radar screens, the 50 initial targets suddenly multiply to more than 500. The Aegis combat system, that massive brain classifying threats in milliseconds, faces a deliberate digital saturation for the very first time. Every single dot on the screen could be a deadly missile or just a carbon fiber digital hallucination. Simultaneously, Fajr 5 rocket launchers open fire from the cliffs, but they aren't aiming at the destroyer. They fire 120 rockets into the water, forming a geometric grid around the Arleigh Burke. Every single impact kicks up a massive column of salt water 50 feet into the air. In 30 seconds, a boiling curtain of steam and foam swallows the destroyer. It looks like a fog manufactured straight out of hell. It is a tactical smokescreen engineered with absolute military precision. It blinds infrared sensors, scatters laser rangefinders, and completely breaks the electro-optical line of sight. It's like trying to hunt down a sniper from inside a sauna during a raging storm. 0347 hours. The captain doesn't blink. He orders the Cooperative Engagement Capability Procedure, merging data from the Poseidon, the Seahawk, and their own Aegis into one unified tactical picture. The Mark 41 vertical launcher fires a salvo of SM-6 missiles. Each one costs $4 million. They track right toward the coastal positions that expose their electromagnetic signatures when firing. At the same time, the ANS-LQ-32V6 electronic warfare system focuses a directed energy beam right onto the Iranian coastal radar receivers. This is cognitive electronic warfare, true adaptive jamming in the heat of combat. The IRGC operators watch their screens fill with digital snow, 0410 hours. Just as they regain control, a silent threat emerges below in the Strait of Hormuz. The destroyer's ANS-QQ-89 sonar detects metallic signatures inches below the surface, not waves. They are Mayhem-class smart mines. Magnetic devices anchored to the seafloor, programmed to detonate the second a heavy steel hull passes overhead. The destroyer is trapped. Move forward, and those mines rip it apart from below. If it reverses, the second wave of suicide boats hits, faster, more aggressive, built to ram the waterline. They're already pushing 30 knots toward its flank. They only have seconds to choose between sinking slowly or exploding instantly. Do you think the Arleigh Burke's captain can actually break out of this double trap? If you trust U.S. Navy firepower, comment a 1 below and hit like. 50 hours. While the destroyer fights for its survival, a parallel move triggers miles away. From Al Dhafra Air Base in the United Arab Emirates, a pair of A-10 Thunderbolts scramble under emergency priority. These aren't fifth-generation supersonic fighters. They are attack jets designed in the 70s. Slow, ugly, brutal, and completely perfect for this exact mission. Military doctrine calls it swarm busting, hunting them one by one. Unlike an F-18 Super Hornet, which flies way too fast to pick out individual speedboats hiding in the seafoam, the A-10 can hold steady flight at just 300 knots. Paired with the Sniper Advanced Targeting Pod and Thermal Night Vision, it becomes the exact patient predator this battlefield demands tonight. 03:55 hours. The Warthogs drop from the clouds like falcons, diving over the desert, evading the early warning net. The pilots dive deep between the massive 500-foot limestone cliffs that line the rocky coast of Keshem Island. This is nape of the earth, flying pushed to the absolute limit. The wings nearly scrape the sheer vertical rock walls. Altimeters scream warnings. The pilots ignore them with cold, iron discipline. They suddenly burst out 30 meters above the swells. Flying so low, the engine wake kicks up white sea foam. Surviving IRGC soldiers on the fast boats hear it first, a demonic roar, the unmistakable screech of TF-34 turbofans before they can even react. By the time they hoist their shoulder-fired missiles, the A-10s are already overhead. 0400 hours. The sky erupts into a deadly web of tracers and flares. Infrared-guided missiles hunt for engine heat. Suicide drones dive straight toward the air intakes of the A-10s. The American pilots rip 7G turns just 20 meters above the water. Blood rushes straight down to their feet. Their vision violently narrows into a tunnel. They dump chains of magnesium flares burning at 1100 degrees Celsius. These fake suns reflect across the black water, blinding the infrared seekers. Locking onto the target, the pilots center their crosshairs over the next boat, and then the GAU Avenger cannon opens fire. The sound is legendary, a guttural roar. 6 spinning barrels firing 65 depleted uranium 30mm shells every single second. It completely drowns out the roaring ocean. Every burst shreds the fiberglass hulls like hot butter. They instantly turn into floating graveyards of raging fire and spilled jet fuel. In less than 4 minutes, the second wave of the swarm ceases to exist. The water burns in dozens of orange bonfires linked by oil slicks. 0425 hours. The captain authorizes the nuclear option of non-kinetic warfare. This isn't standard jamming. It's a total saturation electromagnetic attack. The SLQ-32 antennas focus an ultra-high-intensity radio frequency beam, sweeping the Strait of Hormuz in a 180-degree arc. The entire electromagnetic spectrum is completely torched. The effect is immediate and surgical. Stripped of GPS and control links, the Ababil drones suddenly drop from the sky like dead birds hitting the black water. It's a complete digital lobotomy. The suicide boat swarm instantly loses its central coordination. Without a brain guiding them, the boats smash into each other in the dark, their navigation screens reduced to pure white static. IRGC pilots scream conflicting orders into dead radios, transmitting absolutely nothing. 0430 hours. As the electronic fog clears, the destroyer's defensive perimeter tightens for the final rain of steel. The Phalanx close-in weapon system, an angry R2-D2, spins up its automatic search and destroy cycle. Its massive M61 Gatling cannon, the 20mm gun, starts spinning, spitting out 4,500 tungsten rounds a minute. The pitch-black sky lights up with rapid, blinding flashes. Suicide boats surviving the electronic chaos completely disintegrate less than 500 meters from the hull. Just shredded titanium confetti. Titanium confetti floating on top of burning oil. 0445 hours. The whole nature of the battle shifts. The prey is officially the hunter. AP-8 Poseidon cuts through the smoke curtains using its ANAPY-10 radar. It geolocates the source of the attack, IRGC missile bunkers carved into the limestone cliffs of Keshem Island. The coordinates instantly fly via Link 16 straight to a pair of A-10 Thunderbolt 2s waiting high above. The Warthogs dive, heavy with GBU-12 Paveway 2 laser-guided bombs. The Poseidon's laser designator paints the entrance of every cave with pinpoint millimeter precision. The heavy bombs tear right through the tunnels before detonating. Secondary explosions erupt. Fuel depots and ammo stores instantly collapse the entire underground network. Tons of solid rock bury the Iranian blockade program deep inside its own mountain. 500 hours. The strait is wide open again. The destroyer pushes forward through the main shipping lane. Behind it, nothing remains but the stench of burnt fiberglass and totally crushed ambition. The final aftermath is completely devastating. The IRGC lost nearly its entire fast boat fleet deployed for the operation. Their main Fajr 5 coastal launchers and the Keshem underground bunker network, 2 decades of work gone. The Arleigh Burke destroyer cruised back to port without a single casualty, using less than 15% of its ammo. The strategic lesson is brutal but simple. Pure mass simply cannot beat true digital integration. A swarm missing a digital brain is just one massive target. Tehran burned its best geopolitical card. The credible threat to close the Strait of Hormuz traded away for absolutely nothing. The strategic payoff was a total catastrophe. Decades of asymmetric warfare doctrine evaporated in under 2 hours. But the choke point remains, and the next round of this high-stakes chess match is already being set up in silence. Put yourself in the Iranian commander's shoes tonight. What is your next move? Strategic retreat or double down? Let us know in the comments. Hit that like button if you think the United States must stand firm in Hormuz. Subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss our next tactical breakdown. This scenario is a fictional simulation for educational purposes, based entirely on publicly available military capabilities. Sensors are hot, the board is set. Thanks for tuning in, and see you on the next deck. Stay sharp and keep your eyes on the horizon.